Hello and welcome to the Dad and Sons podcast.
Yeah.
Hi.
We are back after our first ever brief hiatus because joining me this week is Matt California Dreaming Visual.
Not dreaming. I is here.
Not dreaming no more. You is there after a 36-hour drive down. Just a local trip, you know. One side of the USA to the other.
Fun fact, I made the whole drive without stopping.
What?
You are mad. You are mad.
For like, what did you do about gas in your bathroom?
Of course I stopped and got some gas. Maybe I stopped once for like a 2-hour power nap.
Oh my god, you were crazy. Oh, you're just backpedaling. Oh, you got me so excited.
He had the most efficient car ever.
What 2-hour power nap out of 36 hours? Or more,
I
probably.
thought you had called up our good friend Elon Musk and asked him for one of those self-driving Tesla grad mobiles.
Oh, yeah. Our best friend, right?
Yeah, of course. Give us your money, Elon.
And viewer.
Where do you think we get all the dad done money?
Supporter of the podcast.
And the voice
Elon Musk
that you hear that doesn't know how cars work very well is George. I don't need to play any other game apart from MGS3 until the day I die. Weedman.
I played some other games this. I played some real stupid games this week.
Alongside playing MGS3 for what must be the 157th time, I think.
Oh my god.
On European Extreme with no tranks and no kills. This time live on stream in front of everyone. Last time was at the console gaming room of MagFest while taking fans' questions in person.
Well, you did it on stream this time, so you were kind of doing the same thing.
Almost.
And I am the last member of the Dad and Sons show, coming back to you live. I am Liam, surviving the most deadliest storm in Japan for 25 years today. Edwards.
Oh my god.
We had another typhoon today, and...
Another one?
Yeah, another one.
Oh no.
Another one.
It was the strongest typhoon in 25 years in Japan. I highly recommend you Google or search on Twitter for the videos that were floating about of West Japan today, which is where I live.
I saw the pizza delivery guy.
Yeah, that poor guy. That epitomizes Japanese work culture, being forced by your bosses to go out and deliver pizza in the deadliest storm Japan has had in 25 years. That epitomizes everything about Japanese work culture you ever needed to know.
And you say this is a different storm from the last one,
yeah,
which, as I recall, was pretty deadly.
Yeah, so that was flooding. So that was just heavy rain. This was like, today we had a typhoon. It was called Typhoon Jebi. And it came, and it was like 200-mile-per-hour winds. Half of Osaka Airport is completely underwater now. And also, the only bridge to the island in which Osaka Airport is on had a fucking tanker, like a ship, crash into the bridge thanks to the wind and has completely broken half of it. So now you can't even get to the airport. Kyoto Station, which is a station I visit quite frequently, half the roof fell onto people going through the station, tiles and stuff, and just buildings have been destroyed. Just search the videos. It's madness. Luckily, where I am wasn't so bad, but Osaka and Kyoto, like middle Japan, sort of got well and truly fucked.
So when I visit Japan next year, is there going to be a Japan left? Because it doesn't seem like there's going to be a Japan
this
left.
Year, like having been here for 3 years now, this year has been by far the most.
Yeah, this is nuts.
We had like a deadly heat wave, we had deadly flooding, we had a couple of earthquakes, and now we're having like the strongest typhoon in 25 years. Yeah, it's been a rough year for all Japan. It needs a couple of band-aids plastered across it.
To refresh those who might have missed from the past 2 weeks onwards.
2 weeks is a long time.
Yeah, that was not that long ago. That was very, very
It's
soon.
basically this summer. This summer has been really bad for Japan. Like today, all the trains stopped at 10 a.m. They already like preemptively were like, nope, no fucking way.
Wow.
This is gonna suck, and it sucked. Honestly, check out some of the videos. There were like tennis courts like being ripped up. Some videos I saw of like big trucks being pushed across the road, nearly pushed into the water over the bridges. There was like people's roofs were coming off and like slamming into like electrical poles, making explosions and all sorts of madness. There's some pretty crazy stuff happened today.
So, as I recall last time, you waited out the natural disasters responsibly and tastefully with your Nintendo Switch.
I did. Guess what I did today, George? Guess what I did today?
Did you play video games on your Nintendo Switch?
I did.
When are we not?
I know. I think the key to surviving, this is my natural disaster survival tip number 1, is to just ignore all the issues and stay inside and play video games.
Wow.
I mean, it's worked for me. I'm still alive.
Reminds me of those like Hot Topic gamer shirts. like, please don't knock on this door. I'm gaming, Mom.
Yeah.
Please don't save me from the typhoon. I'm gaming, Abe.
Even earthquakes couldn't stop me from gaming. Even a typhoon couldn't stop me. No, I stayed inside and played the Switch.
What'd you play?
It was fun. So I played a lot of games. It's been 2 weeks. I played games, guys. I've done what we don't usually do.
It's been 2 weeks. I mean, we had our hiatus. 1 in 37's not bad.
That's
not too bad.
I mean, I played a lot of games. But first I'll start, I guess, what I was playing today to wait out the typhoon, and that was The Messenger.
It's just The Messenger? That's it?
It's called The Messenger, and it's that
Don't shoot it.
New Switch game that everyone is hyping up. The one that's kind of like a Ninja Gaiden.
Oh, yeah. I did see this. Okay, yeah.
It's kind of like Ninja Gaiden mixed with, towards the end, it becomes a little bit like a Metroidvania kind of thing. Fuck, people love that Metroidvania style these days. But I've been playing it because it got super rave reviews. I played it a bit summit earlier this year, and it was pretty cool, the section I played. So I immediately downloaded it. The aesthetic is really cool. It has this really cool gimmick that everyone's spoiled, so I'm just going to spoil it anyway, where it starts off like 8-bit retro NES Ninja Gaiden style, and then towards the end of the game, there becomes this gameplay mechanic where you twist the levels around between jumping through portals, which make it 8-bit, and then make it 16-bit, like a Super Nintendo Famicom
Oh, that's
game.
cute.
Which is cute and cool, and one thing that really surprised me is when I got to that section is it feels and plays differently as well. Like the difference between an NES game and a Super Nintendo game. It feels really different too, and it feels really good when you switch to the 16-bit. It feels a little more fluid. I think that's on purpose.
Well, like softer and rubberier.
Yeah, and the controls feel a little more responsive.
Yeah, like
when you
like going from Metroid to Super Metroid.
Yeah, it's literally like that, which is weird because the NES, section felt pretty good anyway. But then there is a noticeable difference between the two, whether it's the frames of the animation or something that changes to make it feel a little more responsive. I don't know. But anyway, the game is... so the game
looks more fun than
the backstory. Yeah. So they've definitely taken inspiration from Ninja Gaiden. It's nowhere near as hard as Ninja Gaiden. It's tough, but not in a good way. It's really weird because... For backstory, it's been getting really good reviews. Some 10 out of 10s, most places gave it like an 8 to a 9. I think the Metacritic rating for it is pretty high. I kind of don't get it. Like, the game is good, and it's interesting, and it feels good, but like the first couple of hours and the first couple of levels, the level design is like super uninspired, really boring, jump from platform to platform, kill fucking uninspiring enemies that just walk towards you. Boring-esque stuff. And then it gets to these sections where the checkpoints are quite far between each other. So it only just has frustrating deaths. They're not challenging. The game has this really good mechanic where you can hit these light switches to then give yourself a double jump.
Mm-hmm.
So you can jump and then attack the light switch, and then you get an extra jump within maybe a 1 second window. So you can like hit and then jump. So it requires a bit of skill to, jump across gaps that have multiple light switches. But it doesn't use this mechanic enough. It only uses it in small sections. And then for a lot of the sections, they'll have just super frustrating shit. Like you'll try and do like this cool cloud stuffing mechanic, and they'll just have like enemies that spit fire across the screen at really slow pace in like short patterns. So then you never get like the fluidity of like actually like diving across big gaps, hitting these things. You always have to sort of take your time and precariously go around enemies, which is just super boring because it takes away from the mechanic. And then if you get hit and then you die, you're just like, oh fuck, now I have to go all the way back to the checkpoint, which is incredibly frustrating. Some of the levels allow you to sort of like, when you get the ninja rope, where you can sort of like fling yourself across to a wall and stick to it, then it gets a little more fluid and a little more fun to traverse things, but it still has these really dickish enemies that just... Every enemy that throws projectiles in this game, it's like the projectiles are really slow, they home on the player, and they're in like really short repetitive patterns. So it requires you to just constantly stop and then like dodge through them by ducking and stuff like that, which takes away from like the whole idea of going fast like a ninja and like cloud stepping all over the place. But it does, when it gets going and you sort of like flying through the levels pretty quickly and stuff like that, it does feel quite fun, and the combat can be pretty good. You can do quite a few like ninja stuff, throw ninja ropes and dive across enemies and throw shurikens and stuff like that.
But Destructoid said it was a 10 out of 10.
But fuck Destructoid, because
the
bosses in this game
scary
are dog shit.
Oh, so it's like Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker.
That's right.
There is nothing, like, there is not one single boss in this game that I have enjoyed fighting. I don't know what it is, what they were thinking when they made bosses. Of course, like, each stage has a boss at the end of it, and they're not hard, per se. They're not like Dark Souls bosses, which are strategic and require you to watch animations and like, use your skills and what you've learned to do stuff. With these bosses in the Messenger, it's truly like taking the worst part of old NES games. Just unfair, shitty bosses that you have to figure out what the patterns are, which is like, par for the course for most games. But with these bosses, they'll do really unfair stuff, or the hitboxes will be really off. And you'll spend like fucking 10 minutes waiting, because the stuff is really easy to dodge and stuff like that. Like, the bosses are inherently easy. It's just like they're like 10 minutes long. They have such like huge health bars. The health bars are invisible, so you don't know at what stage you are. Like, they start flashing towards the end of their life. But for some bosses, it just seems to go on for fucking ever. And you just have to keep repetitively jumping over like really slow patterns that are tedious. But if you get hit, it takes like a lot of damage off you. Or like there's this one boss where like the platforms start disappearing, and it's just incredibly frustrating because it's not hard. It just takes so long, and they go on for like 10 minutes a time. And you're just like, when will this fucking boss end? And there's just nothing enjoyable about the bosses whatsoever. I have no idea how... for all the reviews I read, no one was complaining about these bosses. And I would take that as me thinking I'm bad at the game. But when you're just happily like dodging through all the patterns and stuff like that, and then you're still hitting the boss 10 minutes after you started, and then you get hit by like a really unfair hitbox, or like just a platform disappears from underneath you, and the distance between the platform and like the bottom of the stage is really small, so you immediately die an instant death. It's just so unfair and so stupid.
But NintendoInsider.com gave it a 10 out of 10.
Oh my god.
I don't know, like, I can see, don't get me wrong, I'm not completely negative on the game. Like, I'm compelled to finish it, which doesn't happen with many games. But I have no idea how people thought this game was a 10 out of 10. Like, the early part of the game is super boring, the levels are really uninspired. You get upgrades really, really quickly, so it kind of defeats the point of it having this skill tree thing. It has a smart mechanic when you die. Like, it ties into the story that you can come back because this demon follows you around and takes like all the money, like these gems that you get. He takes half of them until you've paid him enough, basically paying him back for him reviving you. But man, when it's bad,
are you like spoiling the story right now?
it's bad. No. It's like within the first 5 minutes. But like when it's bad, it's bad. Like it like takes shitty things from old NES games and thinks like, oh, this is so nostalgic and cool.
Kind of reminds me
it's
of.
bad.
Is it an unfair comparison to say that this situation kind of reminds me of Owl Boy?
Oh,
I don't know, because this is like on a constant basis. Like at the end of every stage, I dread what boss comes, because I'm just like, not a single boss in this game has been interesting in the least, and a lot of them are just like unfair. Like there's this fucking ogre boss, these two ogres that you fight at the same time, and they are not hard, but then they have this one attack where they kick like either like a giant boulder at you or like the other ogre at you, and both of them are homing, and there's nowhere on the screen. Yeah, they kick the other boss at you, and they're homing, and they move really quickly, and there's nowhere to go on the screen to dodge it. So you just have to get fucking lucky if it hits you or not, and then it does almost an instant kill immediately. It's so bullshit. I would be honestly surprised if I'm the only person who has an issue with these bosses. They're so bad. Like, it's not just one boss. It's like
Peace Walker.
I've fought like 8 bosses and they're fucking bad.
No one complained about it either over there.
George, are you trying to do a segue from Peace Walker?
No, I'm not. I actually did not play Peace Walker over the past couple weeks.
I mean, a Metal Gear.
Oh,
because you did play Metal Gear.
I did play a Metal Gear. For
you played the same Metal Gear,
the best one.
Before we move on from the Switch,
yeah.
There is 2 games that I want to talk about, but we can get to the other one after, which is a good fucking Super Nintendo game, which I played through. But this has been a really good week for the Switch, because a game we've already talked about before on the show, a game that both me and George love already, but was surprisingly announced that it was coming out on the day. Into the Breach is on the Switch.
Yay!
And it works really well, and the controls are really good, and playing Into the Breach on the Switch in handheld is fucking amazing. I don't want to go on about it again, but it's probably the best game of the year, and it's amazing on Switch.
My favorite so far.
Best game of the year.
Yeah.
Matt, it's amazing.
It's an incredibly devious game of setting the enemy up for accidents that look hilarious and satisfying when everything comes together.
Manipulating the enemy against them. Yeah. It's an amazing game, and it's on the Switch, and it's a really, really good port. The controls work really, really well for a tactic-based game.
And
awesome.
for a tactic-based game whose entire core strategy revolves around like sliding enemies into friendly fire. It's got the style that nicely makes that situation come off more serious than it should be. It's
absolutely
it's hilarious.
Abusing smoke powers so they can never attack is a good thing too. But yeah, no, Into the Breach, I bought it on Switch as well, just because the game's fucking amazing. So I played it in between, like, getting frustrated at the messenger. I would boot up a game that actually
don't
has
shoot
good
the
game
messenger.
design. And
Oof.
no, the messenger's okay. It's
Quality
fine.
joke
It's fine.
there.
It's like a 7.5 on the IGN scale of game. It's fine.
Look up
it's
what
just
IGN
it has.
gave it.
IGN gave it like a 10, I imagine. I think.
Well,
Oh
no,
my
it's
God.
it's like
A
the
10?
smaller outlets
Really?
that exaggerated their score. They gave it an 8. They gave it an
Really?
8.
They gave it an 8. That's fair. Like there is really good parts to the messenger, but there are an astoundingly amount of bad parts as well, which is kind of disappointing. I feel like overall just rather disappointed. But it's cute, and the 16-bit and 8-bit aesthetic is nice, and I'm compelled to finish it because it's only about 10 hours long. Yeah, I'll finish it unless it throws up a boss that is just so infuriatingly stupid that I quit, and then just go play Into the Breach forever.
You would not do wrong.
No. But like, speaking of good games, I played through Super Castlevania 4 again.
Was this on the
You played through what?
classic?
I don't know. Since like the Simon Belmont announcement for Smash, I've been
got
like,
you in the mood.
Like, honest to God, no.
adorable.
This is literally what happened. I told George this the other day. This is literally what happened. I woke up on Saturday morning. I heard Bloody Tears. Like, I literally, like, it came up on a playlist. I heard it while I was making breakfast. I was like, yeah, Castlevania is awesome. And then I had, like, the Super Nintendo Classic, I hooked up to my TV. I was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to play, like, the first level of Super Castlevania 4. That'll be fun. Let's hear, like, the beginning. That's a cool track. I played it all day.
What did you make for breakfast?
What did you have for lunch?
I didn't have lunch. I was too busy playing Super Castlevania. I did take a break, though, to go get drunk and eat teppanyaki, which is Japanese chicken wings, which is amazing. And then I returned and I finished Super Castlevania, which is a really good game.
So it holds up?
And now I've been on, like, this huge Castlevania kick where I ordered, like, the GBA. I tried to get the GBA game on the Wii U. I even hooked up the Wii U again to go on the Virtual Console to try and download Aria of Sorrow. But I then couldn't buy it because, like, I read that you could use PayPal on the Wii U, but then I spent like 2 hours trying to find the PayPal settings on the Wii U, and I couldn't find them, so I couldn't buy Aria of Sorrow. So I bought it.
Wait, so you're willing to still buy games on the eShop for the Wii U?
Yeah, because it's cheap. It's like $8 for Aria of Sorrow, and I can play it on the tablet itself. Like, I can play it on the controller.
But
so
you're gonna have the Wii U turned on again after this experiment, I bet.
No, but I would. Yeah, but for $8 and to play through Aria of Sorrow in like a week.
Oh, I guess.
It'd be worth it for me. And then, when I hook up the Wii U again in 15 years, when it has like Dreamcast
when you want to see what playing Zombie U the way it's meant to be played is like.
Yeah, exactly. But then I couldn't, so I had to buy a Japanese version, and I'm sort of like playing through it on my Japanese GBA SP now. And I tried to get Order of Ecclesia and what's the other one on DS?
Music of Monsters.
I don't know. I forget what it's called. Order of Ecclesia I haven't played. And what the other good is it Harmony of Dissonance, maybe?
Harmony of Hellspawns.
So I'm kind of like on a Castlevania kick. I even rewatched the Castlevania Netflix show because
You really like Castlevania, right? At least for this week.
I found out this week I really did. It's better than The Messenger.
So it holds up?
Super Castlevania 4 absolutely fucking does. It really, really does. And like playing a game like that, like going back to like when I was playing the Mega Man Legacy Collection, old games that you can see why the game design is so good but has some of those frustrating parts. Having like the ability to make save states and just sort of enjoy the games for what they are and not get frustrated at having to restart maybe 15 times when you get to a hard part is pretty good. But even then, like, it still took me ages to defeat Death in the boss rush towards the end of the game because that guy's a dick. But Dracula, he's not so bad. He's quite easy. So, yeah, that game holds up really well. Really, really well. It takes about 6 or 7 hours to finish. It's fucking fun. The game is good. Anyway, I'm done.
So yeah, I guess it's surprising then that you had to deal with a natural disaster this week, which did not necessitate a week without the Dad and Sons. Matt, however, did not have his thing set up, but now you do. You're in California. You started a new job. I bet you have some stories to tell.
Stories.
Yeah, you did your 36 mile drive. You sold all your worldly possessions on Craigslist. Yes,
I sure did. Well, Craigslist is not the new thing anymore because people get murdered, and so it's like OfferUp and Let Go and all these. They're sponsoring us this week. Yeah, so. I like sold my computer and everything like that, my beautiful monitors, and packed everything in my car and drove to California, straight through, and had like, I don't know, a ton of Red Bulls, which I think affected my brain for at least a week. Yeah. Just at least a week. It's just like, oh man, keep your brain up for like that long for sure. Like your sentences are just not finishing properly. Yeah, it's not so good. Not doing that again. Nothing too crazy, but I mean, I gotta ask, for people who live in California, there's something I noticed. First of all, there's a lot of things about California that no one says. Okay, just no one talks about.
Go on. Yeah, are you gonna?
No.
Are you gonna talk about them?
Okay. Have you moved away from like conservative America into like freedom, truly democratic, do whatever the fuck you want America? Is it freaking you out a little, Matt?
No. It's all right. So East Coast is totally different. East Coast, you're. It's like you buy the book and everything, and then West Coast is just super relaxed. I mean, weed is legal over here. As long as you're 21, you're good to go. So you smell that junk everywhere. Like people are just. Now I'm not saying people are just smoking on the streets. Well, people are smoking on the streets, but it's not like what you think. It's not like a drug world. This is dispensaries and stuff out here. But the thing I noticed is in the bathrooms, for some reason, the stalls are a little bit lower.
What?
I just want to ask the people who live in California, why are the stalls? I am not necessarily a tall guy, but at 6 feet, like
you mean the toilet seats are like too low to the ground, or the
the ones that you stand up.
Oh, the urinals. Oh, they're too low.
They're low. So when you pee, it splashes on the
believe
below
this is the
knee.
first thing we're talking about after you moved to California.
Are you?
But that's the first thing I realized. It's like,
is it just your building?
No, it's everywhere. Everywhere I go, all the restaurants I go to.
What?
All the urinals are low. Why?
I thought urinals were created equally. In
I
this
don't like it splashing on my knees, man. It's like I just rather go to the toilets. I just go to the toilets, and I was like, oh my god, no! I don't want to feel like urinal cake juice on my knees.
I don't remember that.
No.
I've been a couple times, but I didn't really pay attention to the elevation of the urinals.
I don't know, man. This is something you just realize, man. But California is, well, I'm living in right now with family until I figure out where I want to be. So if anyone who lives in California has any suggestions, let me know.
That Dadson's reach.
I'm thinking about San Diego right now because it's really nice over there. And plus, I'm young, and I probably want to meet people, so I probably should be in the city. I said this beautiful. I mean, this place is beautiful. There's mountains everywhere. The sun hits them just right. It looks like a painting. I drive like hours every day, and I don't even feel it.
Ooh,
it could be the honeymoon phase.
No, California is
beautiful.
beautiful.
How many hours do you drive to work?
It's freaking amazing. Like it's great, and I want to live in the mountains so badly, but there's nothing to do in the mountains. I'm like, let me not make that decision. Let me live in a city.
Wait, how long
the
does it take
city's
you
great
to drive
too.
to work? Did you say?
Say again.
How long does it take you to get to work?
Well, to drive up to like where like it's about like an hour and 20, hour and 30, because I live in like late what was it called? Not Apple Valley.
San Andreas.
San Andreas. I live behind the mountains. I live behind the mountains, and it's like a little community there that they're building. It seems like California's spreading out to the east a bit to make even more cities.
Might be a problem.
And there's a lot of space.
Yeah, I think there's like a real problem with the state being too big as it is.
Yeah, there's a lot of people building like really nice houses just in the middle of the desert.
What could go wrong?
Just in the middle of the desert. It's freaking fantastic. But yeah, it's been beautiful, and I need to find a place to stay, and I don't want to deal with noisy neighbors. But I think I'm gonna have to just to live in the city because the houses there are out of my price range because things are expensive here. Yeah. Okay. People say that. People say that California is expensive. I don't think it really is.
You just said it was.
No, okay, just the rent is expensive, and it depends on how much you're making.
That's like the only relevant number when judging if a place is expensive.
But okay, true, ish, true,
ish,
true. But you could find places for like, okay, all right. In Georgia, what's like
Georgia's
I guess
cheap.
the regular for a city like 1,000, right? You could find things for like 1,000 for 1,000 a month, right? In Atlanta,
yeah. Well, you could definitely
Sorta.
go cheaper.
You could definitely go cheaper.
You'd have to look.
Okay,
but, 1,000 would be like the quick and dirty. I just drove over here for a day. I'll take what I can find rate.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. Well, in San Diego, the rent is about like 14 and up. 14.
Fuck that noise.
How do you live?
So imagine just like a chunk of your paycheck just going.
There it
A
goes.
chunk? You mean all of it? Speaking of chunks of paychecks, how's the job?
The job is cool. It's fun. I mean, I get to to play games.
Fuck, I didn't think you liked playing games, man.
Yeah, hey, listen. It's just a demanding job as Micro Center. Now I can say it now.
Yeah, I don't know how.
Oh
specific.
God! Now people are gonna go back and listen to all the things I said about Micro Center.
Because now you have to like beat around the bush of your current employer, but now you're totally off the hook for your previous employer.
Yes. Fuck Micro Center. All right, sorry.
It's about time.
No, Micro Center is great job. I enjoyed working there. Learned a lot of things from Micro Center. Met a lot of good people. Yeah, retail is definitely a struggle. Let me say. I don't know. Yeah, but I'm a little glad to be out of it.
You're out, Matt. You've done your time. You're out, man.
Yeah. I think me and George said this before. I think you have to work retail once in your life or twice in your life.
It gives you perspective.
Yeah.
It builds character.
Absolutely.
It builds character.
It does.
Teaches you how normal people work.
You can tell people who haven't worked a retail job, who have just went from like school to living with their cushy parents to straight into a good job after
think it's
college.
so easy.
You can kind of tell. Yeah, life is easy, no hardships, no have to pay rents, none of that. We love all you guys in the audience. I apologize.
Yeah. Please keep listening. Don't listen to Matt. But I agree. Nothing made me the mentally strong human being I am today, other than trying to sell Wii U accessories to old women at Christmas.
That sounds. You're already selling a hard to sell product to a completely alien demographic.
Yeah. And trying to explain that the Wii and the Wii U are different, yet they use the same accessories and peripherals. Oh my God. Thanks,
yeah,
Nintendo.
they messed that up.
Thanks, Nintendo.
So bad.
One time,
but it made me the man I am today.
One time, my shitty summer job in high school was working at a theater for one summer, and a child left a live worm behind the one of the first viewings of Pirates of the Caribbean 2. So I had to figure out what to do with the live worm. There was a used condom in the prize grabber. I had to clean the dumpster for a day, and I smelled so bad they sent me home.
Yummy.
I will admit, the best job I ever had, the job I enjoyed the most was pseudo retail.
The job I liked the most was washing dishes. Like, there's crappy jobs that can be really therapeutic and a little fun.
The best, honestly, I don't know whether it's like rose-tinted glasses, but the best job I feel like I ever had was I used to drive and like, I don't know, like ice cream vans. Do you have that in America?
Oh, yes, we do. And they're like a childhood staple that's also always suspiciously like shady and ghetto.
Creepy. Yeah. Same in the UK. But like in the summer, I used to work for this sort of older guy who would like send out like 3 or 4 ice cream vans to like drive up and down like the beach in the summer. So first off, I only worked when it was sunny. So being in the UK, it rained most of the time, so I always had days off, and that was great. But then when I did work, I used to just, drive up and down this van selling ice creams, and like on non-busy days, I just used to get to sit there, play the DS. I was reading through Game of Thrones at the time, eating all the free ice cream I wanted. It was fucking glorious.
And you're like outside in the world interacting with people.
Yeah, because every day I worked, it was a sunny day because that's the only time he'd ever require me. So I was like out chilling in a van, like on the beach in the sun, playing the DS.
Literally chilling.
I played through Golden Sun and the sequel to it during that summer.
Golden Sun.
Yeah.
On these sunny days during your golden years.
Man, that was a good job. He paid well, too. So,
speaking of activities that blur the line between working and playing, Vorpix, as I'm sure Matt Visual knows, I feel like skims that category. Hey, Matt. I finally shoved the PSVR into my PC's delicate holes.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah. Oh. If you want to laugh at me for buying a PSVR, now is the time, my friend. Because...
Oh, God, what happened?
I don't know if I got the last laugh because this thing was like $200, but seeing it try to do some made-for-PC games is hilarious. Seeing it play games that were not made for VR is inspirational and wonderful and also hilarious. So for those who don't know, there is a program called Trinus PSVR that you can install to get a PSVR hooking into your PC, and it fools your PC into thinking it's an HTC Vive, which then means you have to get Steam VR running, which is a middleware on Steam's end, and nothing works without it. I don't know how different it is for Oculus people, but it's always creeped me out ever since I started experimenting with this thing, how ubiquitous Steam's middleware needs to be when hooking into any and all VR applications. You basically are going to have Trinus hooking into your PSVR running in the background. Then Steam VR is going to be running in the background. Then the game is going to be running. And if it's a made-for-controller game on Steam VR, it's pretty... all right. I downloaded Shinwa, Hellblade Sacrifice. They have a VR version for that almost works pretty much perfectly on the thing. You can actually unlock some higher refresh rate and resolution this way, but you have to go through some steps. The PSVR headset can output 120 FPS maximum. It's really, really glitchy in that mode. You start seeing double. It can output 90 hertz. In that mode, you start seeing double unless you set all of your monitors on the computer to 1080p 90. That was a trick. There were a lot of tricks to learn. Oh boy. And on the console, it's just 60.
Or you could just buy a real one.
What? Like, what are they nowadays? $400?
No. There's been deals for like the Oculus for like $300.
Let's see about that. Oculus, Rift, Amazon. I mean, let's put it this way. How much was yours, Matt?
I bought it when it first came out. You can't use me. You can't use me.
Okay, well they're $400. They're $400 now.
Matt's gonna have to sell his anyway to pay his rent.
They're $400 used.
You're not wrong.
Nope.
So, Hellblade.
Time to live in the mountains.
I hope rent is cheap in those mountains so you can afford your VR.
It is, and the houses are bigger.
Try not to be jealous. So
like I'm looking down the list of games that you played, and like it's like Skyrim. We know that's got a VR version. Alien Isolation, that's got a VR version. But forget those two.
Wait. No, the thing is,
let's talk about F-Zero GX and Metroid Prime 3 in VR.
You can download a custom version of Dolphin called Dolphin VR, and if you're George, you may or may not have gotten a $20 Dolphin bar in the mail this week, so that you can basically put a Wii-style IR sensor bar on top of your monitor that also acts as a Bluetooth dongle that interfaces with real-ass Wii remotes, so that you can play games like F-Zero GX, which is fucking incredible. Like, I can't believe more people have not hyped this.
Be mind-blowing.
It absolutely is. It's what I wanted Wipeout to be. Like, it's seeing a game look this fast from the first-person camera mode too in VR with that many racers crammed on the track. You feel dwarfed by the size of the roller coaster loops, the giant like skyscrapers and space stations that the tracks loop you around are just so incredibly smooth and inviting to look at with head tracking, glancing left and right and seeing this huge like phalanx of other racers on either of your sides is a sensation that Wipeout on the actual PSVR can't really provide. And it's in VR, it's a lot more obvious that the game was made in 2003 with, or was it 4? One of those years, with very, very behind the times technology. And on the emulators, my God, you got to go through a long, long trial and error process of figuring out which buttons to tick that fix the problems. In F-Zero, there was a desert level that just would slow down incredibly unless you turned off the heat wave post-processing effect. And then the Aeropolis skyscraper level just would not load unless I what was the trick for that one? I believe it was turning off some XFB emulation thing. There was also some frame skipping I had to do that none of the guides ever mentioned. But my grand hope, my grand ambition of plugging VR into the Dolphin emulator was getting Metroid Prime games working with it. The Metroid Prime Trilogy Collection. Have you guys played that? It's really fucking good. It's Metroid Prime 1 through 3 all in one disc.
But how is it in VR? You know, because the UI is like set up to be the perfect simulation of
the Samus simulator.
The Samus Aran VR experience.
As a true fan, a true believer, I downloaded the I have a copy of the Trilogy Collection on my Wii, so I did not feel bad about putting a copy of the Trilogy Collection inside of this emulator. And it doesn't work great. During the all the scenes in which I tried to load up of Metroid Prime 1 and 3, there would be this little picture-in-picture bubble floating around Samus's left eye that just would not go away and completely distorted the whole image. Apparently, though, the GameCube standalone version of Metroid Prime 1 works great. With a sticky visor and head tracking. However, then you don't get the motion controls. The more what you would assume to be VR friendly motion controls, like in a regular VR game where you're waving a gun around, is not something you're going to get to enjoy if you try right now, as of September 4th, 2018, to play Metroid Prime in VR. Metroid Prime 3 is the one that supposedly has better support. I have seen YouTube guides that have walked me through a process that didn't end up panning out. Samus's helmet cuts off halfway up the screen in VR in Metroid Prime 3. If you play the standalone version of Metroid Prime 3, that weird little bubble that floats around is not there, which is the weirdest freaking thing, that they have better support for the standalone versions of the games than the compilation versions. And also, you know how you had to move your reticule to the edge of a screen to look left or right or up or down?
I really want to experience it, but like, the trouble is I'd have to buy a VR headset, and all the loops you've had to go through to do it just sound tedious.
There's all those loops. There's tons of loops, one of which is making sure you don't get disoriented when you wave that cursor in the wrong spot. You're basically moving your head and your hand in sync with one another and hoping that you don't look too far, because the bounding box for the Wii, like still capturing your IR cursor, is going to be in the front of Samus's orientation at all times. Not necessarily yours, even though you can decouple your face from her and look around. I was really, really hoping that Metroid would be like, you know, the obvious killer app that would make perfect sense. The game seems almost like it was designed for VR by coincidence, but it's really F-Zero that wowed me.
F-Zero.
Oh, man. I want to experience that. It's like it feels like the Wipeout PSVR. You've played that as well, haven't you?
Yeah. I did a lot of the synth stream dystopias.
Which one's better?
I don't know if the internet would believe me if I said F-Zero. Like, it's just it's one of, if not the best racing games of all time, but with a more immersive camera angle, basically, at this point. And also, the other interesting thing is that a lot of PC games that I was playing, like Alien Isolation and Shenmue, would show up real pixelated and blurrier than I would be used to in the VR headset because of the lower resolution. Now you're zoomed in real close into the pixels of that image. However, for GameCube games that originally ran in 480p, you're actually looking at a sharper, clearer image, even through the headset. Like, distant terrain in F-Zero has better visibility in VR than it does in the base game. When you up the internal resolution of that emulator and strap yourself into a hyper zoomed in version of that image right up in everything's face, you can make out a lot more detail than even on the original console. It's really freaking cool. And it also makes me really sad that Nintendo has yet to commit to a new F-Zero game. Because I've wanted to see what so many of these games look like from this perspective for so many years that it's gratifying finally getting my VR F-Zero. It's so gratifying. It's like childhood freaking dreams are coming true here. And it takes about an hour and a half per game to even get things in a playable state.
The day Nintendo does VR.
Well, I'm pretty sure they are. You could take off the little handles, little Joy-Cons, and
like
slide
those,
it straight into a little thing. And then
like
you
you
go.
can do with like the Samsung Gear and stuff like that. Like, you using
There
your
are
phone.
rumors.
Headset.
Isn't there also a theme park attraction they have that actually is an official Nintendo VR Mario Kart themed experience?
Yeah, in Shinjuku. Yeah, it's in Shinjuku in the VRZone, the Namco VRZone. They have the Mario Kart thing, and it's fucking amazing.
I wonder.
It's
Are
really
they
good.
using
Yeah, I wonder who
Vives? Because most of them do.
Yeah,
It
they
was
use
Vibes at
Vibes.
the one we So recommended if you have a headset, any VR headset, whether it's a PSVR or a PC headset, I recommend checking out some of the Dolphin VR library compatibility. It's fun tinkering around with that stuff. But I gave some other games a go. There's some good meat here. There are some games I want to replay just for VR. Skyrim in particular works fine after an hour and a half of fiddling with Vortex. Alien Isolation works beautifully. A fan made a mod for it. You don't even have to fiddle with Vortex.
Both of them have VR versions.
Alien Isolation
right?
does not, right?
Yeah,
Wait.
but Skyrim does.
I thought Alien
I play a little bit
Isolation
Skyrim.
did have VR.
Alien Isolation had a canceled VR mode that I think some fans were able to dig up and re-release.
Vortex.
It was for
okay.
the Oculus DK2, I think. Nowadays, if you want to get VR, the quick and dirty method is to install a mod a fan made that automates a lot of the fine tuning. It also completely gets rid of the game's peaking controls, under the faith that it can replace them with positional controls, which you can actually do with the PSVR on PC. There is a button you can tick that enables a terrible room scale where your helmet and viewpoint are shivering constantly. Getting controllers working was something that was impossible. You have to buy a PS3i from last gen. You have to buy 2 of them and place them at 2 different angles to track controllers and actually play like Super Hot or Onward on PC.
Why are you
Save
doing
money.
this? What? You're not saving money, though.
You bought 2 cameras.
No, I didn't. I bought a Dolphin bar and some shareware software.
Oh.
How much money are you really saving, George? Instead of getting like an
Well, let's
Oculus.
see. It was $200 for the PSVR. I probably spent about $15 on Shrinus, $60 on Vortex. That's $275. 400 minus $275 means I'm saving about $130 something.
And that's worth it for you for all that work? When you could literally just plug in the freaking Oculus and it works.
Well,
just like that.
Later in life, when I'm like a grown dad, I'd like to plug money into my kid and give them a college fund.
And $130 that changed.
A penny
everything.
saved is a penny earned, my dude.
Wait, what were you about to say?
I don't know. I was just coming up with an affable euphemism.
Were you going to use the word that I used before the podcast?
George is racking his brain to remember what that was, full well knowing.
How?
It's okay. Don't hurt yourself.
Oh boy, I really have to go to the bathroom.
Where are we? I got a feeling we're not in Brooklyn no more.
They're brothers. They're plumbers.
Oh no. Mario! Luigi!
They're on the trail of a kidnapped princess and a mystical meteorite.
It's incredible!
That gives anyone who possesses it the power to rule the universe.
Get me the rock! Come and get it, lizard breath!
Now, they must rescue the princess.
Alien species escaping.
And make it safely back
Later, alligator.
to our world
Are you alright?
before time runs out.
Shoot him! Get him! Yes! Gotcha! No, not again!
Super Mario Brothers. This ain't no game.
And we have returned from said toilet.
Wow.
Why toilet
Wow.
instead of bathroom?
Gross.
Because
Gross.
we don't say bathroom in the UK.
But
We just say toilet.
I feel like bathroom is just a euphemism to keep people from having to mention the toilet.
to say
Yeah.
toilet. I don't know, George. What did you do? Did you go and shower? I don't think so.
I kept myself decent. I didn't do anything unchristian.
You
didn't get poop
You got a
particles.
little spray
from your
bottle?
Switch?
Sprays your little
I'm
little
never
anus.
gonna live it down.
Quick 5 minutes of Into the Breach with some poop particles.
Oh God.
So
We have news.
CDPR is starting to put out their gameplay of Cyberpunk to the public. They
Oh, I
got
saw
like
that.
a 48-minute video.
Yeah.
So this was the E3 demo, right? This is like all the journalists who had seen the E3 demo. They were like, "This is the one. This is the one we saw. This is the one that blew our minds."
Maybe? I thought that one was
No, it
this
was.
is okay.
It
Cool,
was.
cool. So
So did it blow your mind?
I don't know if it blew my mind, but
Blew
it
my
looked
mind.
promising.
Yeah.
Oh,
promising.
god damn it. Am I being a pessimist again?
I don't know, because I also did not think it was mind blowing.
But I still think it looks
Yeah, it's
really
not
cool.
mind blowing. It looks good
It's like-
though.
It looks
Crisis
good. No, don't get me wrong.
plus
It looks
Deus
fucking
Ex.
good. And the one thing that, I mean, I tweeted about this, but the one thing that fucking blew my mind is, as someone who has like a sort of medium understanding of how video games are made, like, there is so much fucking variety in that game. Like, from the different camera angles and the way like when she goes into like the augmented Deus Ex bit where she gets like new upgrades and they like take her eyes out and they
They
give her new
RoboCop
eyes,
her.
but the camera changes to look at like your player character, and then it moves with the
Yeah.
guy holding it and stuff like that. Like, that kind of shit must be so hard to rig and just have all these swinging cameras and the changing perspective all the
Let
time.
alone how many different
There's so many,
bullets there were. I don't even want to say guns. I want to say bullets, because there's like curving
Yeah, there's
bullets
just
and
so much
floating
going
bullets
on.
and hovering bullets.
Shooting through the wall and like making holes bigger, like with actual real time like destruction where you're actually shooting, not like predetermined destruction,
There,
is fucking
there are
amazing.
scenes in this game where the character air dashes in midair in slow motion while firing bullets that curve around to like the bad guy's weak spot, and I don't know. I can't say it's mind blowing like a religious experience, a first time experience for any new medium, but it is pretty darn cool.
It looks good. It looks good.
I can't wait to play it. Really.
Yeah.
I mean,
How do you feel about like all the cyberpunkness to it? Did it feel cyberpunky? Did it feel...
Absolutely, I would say. I mean, I'm not familiar with the original.
Like, when she drives out of the city towards the the sewer part, whatever it is, did feel very like California, you know, like those big ditches, those big, what do you call them?
Storm drains?
I just gonna call them a ditch. Yeah, storm drains. And I was like, this is like straight out of GDA.
Yeah, and it also it takes place during daytime, which is a little unconventional for the genre.
There's definitely gonna be night sections though.
Oh, and it's gonna be gorgeous, I bet.
no-
Wait, I wonder
There's
why they
no
haven't
way they're
showed
not
it
gonna-
off.
Yeah, there's no way they're not gonna Blade Runner that thing.
Maybe-
up with all the
maybe-
neon, with all the neon you've ever
Oh,
needed.
I hope it doesn't look bad. I hope it really doesn't look bad. That teaser trailer took place at night, but everything else since then's been at day.
Maybe that.
everything else? I mean, there's only been one demo, right? Did I miss
There was
something
the
else?
trailer.
No, they've the trailer's like 6 years old. So.
No, the
Oh,
E3
okay.
trailer, the one with the rad chip tunes.
Yeah, the trailer. The trailer
Oh,
was
okay,
is
yeah.
so different than the final product. I was hoping to see something with that.
It's surprising that there's not as
Guess
much
it was just like a concept.
combat and action as many other games comparatively. Like it really is a
I was kind of disappointed that it was mostly guns. Like, you had like the Mantis Blade thing, but there wasn't so much like augmented, cool ass technology that I would be expecting.
Yeah.
It felt a little Deus Ex Mankind at times, but I want like cool.
I want a katana.
Oh my
man.
god.
Yeah, I want cool like chopping people into weird cyborg pieces weapons.
Oh my god.
The Mantis
Yeah.
blades look cool, but we need more of that stuff.
Yeah.
Not just guns.
Or a hammer. Like a. I don't know how that would work. That would probably.
How
be
would that
hell.
make sense in the setting?
You could have a future hammer.
I-
The hammer could tell the time.
Yeah, it could also have like a modem on it.
Every time you hit someone, it'd be like, it's 10:30, and you hit them again, it's 10:31.
How the hell do you come up with this stuff?
What the hell? The time hammer.
The time hammer. Someone needs to send a dad's den submission in of a game based on time hammer.
So, any final thoughts? I guess I should clarify that I've skimmed. I didn't watch the whole 48 minutes all the way through, but for the segments that I did, because I don't want to spoil. I want to be able to talk. How do I, guys?
It's like gonna be like a 60-hour RPG.
I know.
48 minutes of your time is like to get a taste
You're
of
gonna
it.
forget most of it. You're literally gonna forget most of
No,
it.
that's not how it worked in the past when I've spoiled stuff before. Like Mirror's Edge, for example. You watch the trailers and the demos of that game, you know the routes out of the chase scenes. As a recent refresher, it was really like BioShock's Ken Levine demos that did it for me, where I noticed my play style was trying to live up to the potential of the E3 demos. It made me play the games differently. I have my reasons.
In this game,
Really?
well, in this game demo, it was like just shooting. There was like not much you could emulate, apart from the obvious, like, you know, the slow plotting of the like where they want you to like look at everything in the room, which no player is ever going to do.
They kind of go out of their way to show you all the different abilities and routes.
Plod.
Yeah.
Slowly make your way. Nobody does that.
But anyways, yeah, no, I think it looks good.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
kind of looks like
Not mind blowing, but good.
what they described from the text of the closed demo from earlier.
I just find it amazing that a studio like CD Projekt Red, which has only made 3 games, now like rivals that of like Ubisoft and EA and makes games that are far beyond what they're making.
I think it's because they can stretch their budget further. Those American dollars buy more
Their
in
team's
Poland.
pretty big now, and they have like 3 studios. They even have a studio in Japan.
Holy
now,
crap,
recently.
really?
Like, The Witcher 3 must have made a ton of money, as well as like GOG, Good Old Games, because that's their thing as well, isn't it? So
Which is still kind of a
must be making
niche
bank.
product. I'll think like when you compare it to Steam and Origin and whatnot.
Yeah, but Steam has made Steam made one man a billionaire. So in terms of the company, it must be making a lot of money. But you know, like The Witcher
Jesus.
3 came out in what, 2014? That's 4 years ago, and Cyberpunk has been in development for what, 5 years now?
Well, the good thing is that they can
Like-
afford to take their time.
But that's the thing. I'm asking, can they? Like, they've only made 3 games. Like, even if you sell millions of copies of The Witcher 3, like, if you have a big team and a couple of studios, like, you're gonna run out of money.
But in the Polish economy, those millions of copies are going to buy more than they would if the studio was headquartered in a more expensive
Poland isn't
economy.
like a third world country.
It's a hell of a lot cheaper than most of the ones the 3 of us have probably spent most of
Yeah,
our
but
time
still
in.
paying people affordable salaries, talented people, affordable salaries, keeping studios lights on, and you know.
I don't know. I kind of like the
Doing
idea
stuff.
of dollars going further for these people who can afford to keep up more niche products and branch out and diversify their styles. I mean, okay, Western developers.
Cyberpunk is not niche. Like, that game is gonna sell a lot.
Yeah, I guess CDPR quit being niche at Witcher 3, huh?
Well, yeah. Even The Witcher 2, you could argue, when it came to Xbox 360.
I don't know if it's Can it still be considered niche if, like, Obama has a copy?
Wow.
Here's our greatest cultural export as a country.
I like the Star Wars Jedi
said
Knight
the book?
games. Those are cool too.
I thought you were gonna choose another president. Like Donald Trump.
No, I don't.
Bill Clinton.
I don't think I was old enough to have a fair judgment on that one. So speaking of getting kids old enough to judge things fairly when they're introduced to them, I don't know. This is I got a real fluffy story, you guys. There's like really not much here except for the little bit of this story that just makes me feel good inside about myself, that might make me reassure myself that maybe I was on the right track when growing up. And that is that James Williams, the managing director of the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra in the UK, has said that computer games are an important access point for youngsters to experience classical music for the first time. Which, you know, again, not exactly like super relevant, breaking industry-changing news so much as something that I've been wanting to, like, shake my parents by the shoulders and shout at them all these years for. Because video game music, by design, is like more melodic and less vocally, and it gives plenty of composers great opportunities to hit a more classical style and expose kids to all sorts of instruments and theories and music histories that they would not know otherwise.
Pretty much every famous Japanese composer of music for the NES or the Super Nintendo that made all the best fucking soundtracks are all classically trained composers.
And you can kind of tell when you hear them, the beeps and boots still like hit an orchestral sense of grandeur sometimes.
Basses,
like,
yeah.
oh man, what is it? ActRaiser, I think, is that SNES game with the particularly orchestral MIDI synthboard. Anyways,
like Castlevania music.
Yeah, Castlevania music.
Just fucking dope.
I feel so incredibly dorky for bringing it up, but the Metal Gear Solid 3 soundtrack by Harry Gregson Williams is something that blew my mind because of how the woodwind and the drums of the music evoke the setting and how perfectly paced it was to the game the developers were making on, like, the other side of the world after they finished outsourcing their music.
I will admit, if it, you know, the first thing you think of with music, of course, is Snake Eater because it's incredible. But the second thing you think of is like the snake standing or waiting, and the like woodwind going off in the background, and then getting like a codec call or something.
The
like that.
caution
like
theme.
It is very iconic. That woodwind sound from.
I mean, like, first thing I noticed as a kid when that caution timer started ticking down was seeing it tick to the music. Second thing I noticed was that I would time my moves to the music. And then third thing was like, oh my god, if I put two and two together, suddenly I now realize that music affects people's mood. It affects people's behaviors. There is a demonstrable difference in the way I played games as a kid when turning the background music on and off. Have you guys ever tried that?
No.
You never, like, set the music off and realized how creepy and quiet Mega Man would suddenly get?
It's weird because depending on what game I'm playing, I'd rather listen to like podcasts or videos. Depends. But with like Super Nintendo games, I can't imagine playing them without the music because it's almost at times that I prefer the music to the game. Like I'm much more like I've sort of realized as years pass, like the funness I have for video games completely stems from the music.
I could totally feel ya. Yeah.
Like the game design sits there as someone who like is interested in that kind of thing, but when I think of like Mega Man or Super Metroid or, you know, Chrono Trigger and stuff like that, I don't think about like the battles or the gameplay I had. Like it's great and they're fun to play, but ultimately, like immediately as you say the word Mega Man, it's like Mega Man 2, Dr. Wily's stage or the intro, and you know, Chrono Trigger. I think of fucking Corridors of Time immediately. Like, music is the thing that sticks out to me. I am such a sucker for chip tune music and music of that era. I love composed, orchestrated pieces like Snake Eater and stuff like that, and some soundtracks are incredible, but God fucking damn it. Like, someone cut me open and I just bleed like chiptune music.
When I was going through Metroid Prime again, I couldn't believe how much more I remembered of the Finjana Drift's music than I did of the actual level.
It's crazy. Like, even like games like, you know, Shovel Knight and stuff like that, which aren't that old, I fondly sit back and I'm like, what a good time that was, thinking of the music.
So they did a survey. About 15% of kids that were surveyed said they got into music through computer games, 11% concerts. Most popular is still film and television, but I'm actually honestly surprised it's not a bigger number, because games to me feel like a more musically driven medium than film and television.
Yeah, absolutely.
There are literal
I was
music
say,
games.
like, apart from like Game of Thrones, I don't remember any TV shows theme. Maybe cartoon themes, maybe. Or Breaking Bad, like the sort of banjo twang.
I saw an anime called Ghost Stories this week, and that theme got stuck in my head for a little while.
I mean, anime is a little different, isn't it? Anime is like music. It's like video game music, I feel like. It's like so integral to... Like, anime intros are like... People get so hyped about that. Like, people even choose what anime to watch based on how good the intro is and the song and stuff like that.
Wait,
wow.
Hold up. And you're giving me... And you're saying that I have, like, weird media selection bias practices?
You don't even watch the stuff.
Yeah,
don't
you just don't watch stuff, though.
Oh my God. We're not gonna talk about this right now. You're not gonna just make excuses for yourself, okay? It's not what we're gonna do right now.
Just because other people are weird doesn't mean you're not weird.
Speaking of making excuses for other people who are weird...
Yes.
Dad Den returns.
Oh wow. That works?
Okay. Don't start with me, George. I'll be here all day.
So, Dad Den, for those listeners who do not know, is a bi-weekly segment in which we will be... Is a bi-weekly segment in which we'll be... Oh my God.
Castlevania is fucking great. Why is it taking me like... Well, I knew Castlevania was great when I was younger, but fuck. Now I'm 28, I'm like, God damn it. So many years
Let's talk
wasted.
about more Castlevania stuff, just right now.
Right now? In the middle of the Dad Den intro?
I'm done. Okay, I'm done. Stop.
So for those who don't know, Dad Den is a bi-weekly segment in which we will be listening to, judging your game idea submissions. Please
send in Castlevania submissions too.
Send them to
Oh my God.
dadandsonspodcast at gmail.com. Include a short, emphasis on the short, but you're allowed to write like 2-3 sentences. Include short paragraphs mentioning your game's name, its gameplay, its style and themes, as well as its projected time and money budget. We will be selecting we'll be rotating, our hosts, selecting 2 or 3 submissions per week, depending on what appeals to each of our tastes as we try to play it off on the others. So for this week, I have 2 Dad Dens for my 2 lovely dads. The very first submission we have is from a listener by the name of Bram Cracker, who I believe I have seen in and out of the Super Bunny Hop Discord as well. This game is Magnum Zeox 3. In the 1930s, adventurous duo Amelia Nichols and Greg Starling travel into the Bermuda Triangle in an airplane to investigate mysterious visions on the shores of Florida. They are then brought through a portal across space to the land of Mars! When they arrive, they find the people of Mars subjugated under a brutal empire and its leader, Carter. They must rally the planet together and find the magical item, the Magnum Zox, to save the Red Planet and Earth from Carter's conquest.
I keep reading it as Xerox.
Xerox? The Magnum Xerox
they're
is
trying
going
to
to
find
save
them.
the red planet and Earth.
Yeah, they're trying to find the magical Xerox machine.
So, Magical Xerox 3 might seem like a traditional JRPG at first, with an overworld, dungeons, party members to collect, and towns to explore, but when you enter a battle, everything changes. Inspired by the combat of the arcade classic Wild Guns, with your with the characters in the foreground moving side to side, shooting up at the enemies in the background. Battles are shooting galleries that test your reflexes as well as the strength of the gear you collect. Oh, so it's a light gun shooter. Oh,
So it's like similar to like Undertale, where the actual like attacking is like a shoot 'em
'cause there's
up,
still an overworld
I guess.
dungeon, party members, but the combat
to collect
is a light gun style shooter. Okay, let me keep going with the pitch here. Shoot up the enemies, pause the battle to ready up items or special attacks. And switch characters on the fly to exploit different weaknesses. The combat will give the game a more active experience than traditional turn-based games in a new way. So now I'm kind of picturing like a FF11 system. No, an FF12 system, like a Kingdom Hearts system, but with guns. I'm wondering at what point in the control scheme your cursor, your crosshairs that you have to aim at bad guys comes into play.
Yeah, this is weird because like he's trying to make like an active and fast combat away from RPG, but then you have to pause the battle to like queue up special attacks and items.
I'm trying to think of like strategic tactical games that also have a Twitch time skill-based reaction element to them.
Undertale is like the one that I can think of where, parts of it are like shoot 'em ups where you have to dodge and move around, incoming bullets.
Which is itself is a really linear story, but that kind of seems like the idea here anyway. Like this story itself sounds ridiculous. It sounds like Total Recall. It sounds like a great fun time, and I was wondering how they could play it off, but this Wild Guns is like just about as absurd. So I feel like the story synopsis is not undoable.
Like if it comes with a gun peripheral where you're playing an RPG with like a light gun, that'd be cool. I'd be down with that.
Yeah, I'm all for experimenting with styles.
And like you can play it one-handed, so
control schemes.
You can have like the joystick on the gun as well. Like, and you hold it, you can move like the ones that have like the joystick on the top.
Yeah,
the trigger.
Like a gun con.
Yeah. That would be fun.
Oh, I hope everyone's okay back there. Anyways,
shit, everyone's playing Wild Guns for real.
Back to the pitch. The game takes place in a ray gun gothic / Sword and Planet style world inspired by Edgar Rice Burroughs, H.G. Wells, and 1930s Flash Gordon serials. Yeah, Wild Guns has a little like retro future theme. The game will also have a black and white.
That's a bit more like Japanese steampunk.
The game will have a black and white option with simulated film grain and a Technicolor mode if you want. And Technicolor is in quotes, so I guess that means extra saturated and washed out. Like a
Instagram filter mode.
1960s sepia nostalgia. The graphical style will be a flat-colored 2D look similar to Guacamelee. Oh my... Yeah, dude! I'm picturing it! For a soundtrack, I want a mixture of 30s-era Hollywood movie orchestra music combined with hard, synthy techno. Other notes. If the game is successful, we can make its sequels, Magnum Xerox 2 and Magnum Xerox 1, which is about going backward in time. That would really confuse everyone. And at the same time, like, it's almost ballsy enough not to fail. I don't know if anyone's been brave enough to do it, but I think at this point in human history, people would tolerate sequel numbers going backwards.
EA did.
Yeah, Battlefield 1. The precedent has been set. Magnum Xerox 2 and 1 can come after 3.
The budget would be around $2 to $3 million to make. That seems reasonable.
It's 2D look, similar to Guacamelee. Flat colored. However, this budget of towns.
Man, 2D with black and white though, that would be really hard to make assets not look all merged together.
You might have to limit.
It works in 3D because everything has. It works in 3D because you have the sort of physical shape of an object, but in 2D, when you have everything as either one or two colors, it's incredibly difficult to make.
With a $3 million budget, you might be limiting your choice of overworld dungeons and party members to collect and towns to explore, but if we're thinking like an Undertale-style adventure, like a quick 6-7 hour replayable RPG, but prettier, I could see that being realistic. They still say it's a 2D look, and that's like the grand line.
This so
isn't
far
it?
seems like the most game we've had.
More so than Wrestler Manager.
Yeah, but because even that seems like that seemed like a game that would be made, but was definitely niche. Where this seems like I can imagine a few game companies and a few publishers out there that would quite happily make this
One
game.
thing that I like is the blatant celebration of how absurd it is. Like that's what's video gaming about it, right? Like it's a science fiction 1930s steampunk where you begin on Florida and end on Mars. That's 1980s, 1990s video games.
I feel like it would have like underlining like old LucasArts humor to it, like Day of the Tentacle based humor.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that would be the sort of writing narrative style that would tie into a game like this.
As well as giggling at the spectacle. Like final bosses of Platinum games are real good at that kind of humor.
Yeah. Well, that's like just Japanese people trying to be American and getting it wrong.
Is it funny to them as well?
I don't even know.
I'd be really interested, actually.
They're just like silly Americans.
Trying to be Japanese.
Because there's definitely something that's like affably funny about like Devil May Cry's attempts to be cool.
Yeah, it's so
and I
cheesy.
wonder if the Japanese
that's what makes it great.
like considers it as cheesily cool, or if they think it's genuinely cool.
Well, when you have like anime characters that are like plays upon that, they're always that type of character as well.
Vincent.
So I don't know. Maybe they do think it's fucking cool.
Wait, what was the guy with the red coat and the big sword in Final Fantasy X?
You just said his name.
I feel.
Yeah,
I can't believe I remembered something correctly. Anyways, so what do we think, dads?
I'm in.
I'm a little confused, but I'm in.
I gotta say I'm a little confused, but I have faith that the vision they have is specific enough to clear the confusion.
I'm a little confused as well, but it does feel like the most game we've had so far. It has a very clear style. It has gameplay that is not straying too far, but also slightly innovative enough that it would be like the big deal in marketing.
Yeah,
like,
and
if this was like an EA game, it'd be like, look at the crazy combat that you can do, which isn't that crazy, but is very different from usual stuff.
Well, I'm mostly in because of the going in back in time mechanic.
Yeah,
and,
the sequels is one
having smaller numbers,
and it's in Florida, so yeah, born and raised.
You just want to kill people that you grew up with, didn't you, Matt?
hey, let's move on.
Can never confirm or deny.
To Harry Potter, The Wizarding War by Ogan.
Is it?
Wait, say that
this
again.
Is copyright.
Wait,
this is
what?
copyright.
Yeah, this is copyright. They want to make a license game.
So they want to make a license game. Right, I'm jumping straight to the budget.
Yeah,
So-
that's exactly 10 million.
10 million
they're-
to make the game and also buy the
They're
Harry
going to
Potter
need to buy the
which we
license,
do
but the
not
thing
have.
about buying licenses is that once you spend a lot of money on the license and rush whatever trash you're at, kids will buy Harry Potter whatever garbage. So
Okay, well we're about 90 million off like the having that license, I guess. So
what?
but let's
Really?
let's see where we go.
Is it
from here.
that much to make a Harry Potter game?
No, obviously not, but I don't think one of the most successful
the tentacle
franchises of all
monster
time.
Yeah, Harry
On the
Potter's
app.
Tentacle Monsters wasn't that much, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Harry Potter's Tentacle
you basically
Adventure.
don't pay to see tentacle monsters.
Harry
grope your,
Potter's special tentacle encounter.
Is that the pitch now?
That might be the name
Do
of
you
this
like
episode.
Harry Potter? Do you like weird hentai? Oh, well, we got the game for
I
you.
have, like...
You don't even have to pay
I
for
have
this.
been... quick side note. I have absolutely, positively loved the, like, alternate titles I've been coming up with the podcast. Like, I have a list here. Don't Evacuate.
Matt, I honestly thought George was like going to admit that he was like into hentai or something.
Yeah.
I thought
Me
that was the route we were
into
going.
It's never
hentai.
anything juicy.
That's silly.
Plausible.
If you ever watch hentai, it'll just be in a different browser than the one he's actually looking at. Offhand listening.
Offhand.
Yeah, just
Whoa.
listening to the sound.
He doesn't even have any lotion or anything. He's just like, oh yeah, that's cool.
So yeah, well, we're here in the like innuendo zone. Harry Potter's Tentacle Encounter is on the list. It's underneath the Time Hammer. Don't Dad and Sons 37. Don't Evacuate. Gamers Inside. That's
Can
a
we
potential.
just combine them? Can we have like
Harry Potter's
Harry Potter, the
Tentacle
tentacle monster,
Hammer.
and the Hammer of Time?
Tentacle Hammer of Time. I'll workshop it. I'll see what I can come up with.
The Hammer of Time.
But I just want to quickly share the previous podcast.
I love this Time Hammer.
It could have there was a very narrow chance the previous podcast would have been titled Dad and Sons number 37, Tom Clancy's anime bullshit.
Yeah, that's a pretty
Dad and
good
Sons
one.
37.
The Hunt for Dan October. The Hunt
Yeah,
for Dan
that
October. The
one.
one you went with.
Ooh,
that was
good pun.
That was what you get paid for.
Dad and Sons 37.
That was a good
Strip
one.
Uno with the boys.
That's also a good one. Actually, I like that one better. Why do you get
Dad
paid?
and Sons 37. Quote, Tom Clancy's Tony Hawk's Underground. Dad and Sons 37, quote, Tom Clancy, get me a soda, over, quote.
Wow, there's a lot of Tom Clancy going on. Is there some obsession?
No, it's because you spoke about the Division for 55 minutes.
Wait a minute. Excuse me. I did not speak about the Division 55 minutes.
I helped.
Okay.
I like how you trailed off in the end then, Matt.
I edited it. It
So
was
Harry Potter.
Yeah, Harry
So
Potter.
Harry Potter, the Wizarding
by
War.
Ogan. All right, let's read the pitch here. Hello, Dad Din. This one is a shameless money grab, spineless spin-off series. Sorry, I accidentally read that as spineless when it's just spin-off. This one is a shameless money grab spin-off series
It is a spineless
that aims to
one.
mash two unrelated licenses with large fan bases. It is Harry Potter, the Wizarding War, and it's basically XCOM 2. Because when you think about
Oh
it, the
my
last few
God.
books of a Harry Potter story, and this is all in the pitch, by the way, when you think about it, the last few books of the Harry Potter story is essentially the same as the XCOM story. A force invades, takes over the government, an insurgency group picks the fight, and something about the Horcruxes happen on the side akin to the Avatar Project?
He's not wrong. It's a good boiling down of both the stories.
You would be playing as the Order of the Phoenix, hiring and training operatives and sending them to missions to disrupt Death Eaters and reacting to their attacks on the wizarding and muggle world. The battle system is the same as XCOM except with wands instead of guns. Operatives learn spells as they level up. You spend resources on wands, research tactical training, etc. The canon can be... They didn't mention a cannon. The canon characters. Oh, wait. It only has one N in it, too. So it could be like the fictional canon, the like teleological reality.
That's what he means. And like, read the sentence.
The canon can be used haphazardly to form that light story XCOM has. You don't really need to include Harry Potter himself here, as the focus should be on the Order of the Phoenix. So finding and destroying Horcruxes could be tied to mission chains. Canon characters, again with one N, can be randomly acquired from the character pool. Yeah, but when you read like words out loud, sometimes they sound like other words.
We're training kids and sending them out to die.
I like this. We can have like little wizard children that have permadeath and they die in battle.
We're training kids. No.
Isn't that what they go to Hogwarts
What's wrong
for?
with you?
To get trained?
We can kill Ron. Ron could die in a mission.
Oh no, we killed Harry.
What happened out there, Harry? Ron didn't make it.
As an expansion pack, you can go wacky and bring the XCOM back. Order of the Phoenix contacts Muggle governments and gets supplied by soldiers with guns. Supplied by soldiers.
Take the guns out.
Yeah.
I mean, guns against kids with little sticks.
What's the death curse?
This is not going well. This is not going well, guys.
You think the kids might be outmatched?
Maybe, because they have sticks in their hand and they think they can do magic.
Well, they can. It's fiction.
Well, they can do magic in the game. It's a game.
You got to use your imagination.
Okay. Okay. Mm-hmm.
The art style is the art style of previous Harry Potter games, semi-realistic cartoony people, to facilitate asset flipping. Bonus points, though, if they...
Why can't we have, like, a gritty, photorealistic version?
Why can't we go back to the low-poly Harry Potter games of the, like, turn of the millennium? Most of the cost for this goes to a juicy licensing deal. That's generally how
we have
it works.
to buy the license.
That's also what kills these things usually. The rest is for art level design and a small programming budget to implement new features.
A small programming budget. You want to make XCOM like one of the most complex games made.
But a small programming.
You need a good
budget.
programming
Also,
team.
programmers have way more expensive degrees, which usually means more
Programmers cost a lot of
expensive
money.
employees than the artists.
Especially ones who can make XCOM games.
10 million USD could be a realistic number. I hate to say
It's
it,
not.
but... Oh, you think so? You think it's not?
No, we have to buy the license for it first. And then we have to make an XCOM game. Like, I don't know how much XCOM cost to make, but I imagine it was a lot more than $10 million. XCOM. Enemy unknown. Budget.
I'm very eager. Because 100 million sounds like... Or no, 10 million. Why did I add an extra zero?
XCOM, for access, XCOM is a very, very, very big budget game.
Because of programming
Yeah,
all
that
those
means.
different menus and systems.
It took 50 to 60 people to make XCOM on the team, supposedly. And it took about 3 years of development. So you're paying 50 people
And
for
it
3
still
years of
sucks.
development. Whoa. What are you fucking... Let's not
He's
do
just
this, man.
cackling. He's cackling back
It's not
there.
going on
He's
a
probably
tangent,
rubbing
man.
his palms together.
So XCOM cost a lot of money to make. And we're making the Harry Potter one and we don't have the license.
But
10 million.
yeah, I think the focus of both the license and the pitch and the description of the game is more on the license. I'm pretty sure that that's where the budget's going to go by design. I mean, something about the very first sentence of the pitch clues me off. This one is a shameless money grab spin-off series. That
I feel like the game would make its money back. For
people
sure.
do love XCOM.
Absolutely.
People also love Harry Potter.
So
A lot of people like Harry
if you
Potter.
made a janky, unreliable, underdeveloped, unfinished version of that concept, there would probably be a lot of people who would buy it before knowing how mediocre it is.
Shit, it was, yeah.
Which,
I would say, as long as they add some tentacles in there,
gotta have your hairy tentacles.
as long as someone says, you're a wizard, Harry.
If J.K. Rowling fronts some of her money, some of her billions forward,
Then maybe she could
that'd
help
be
pay
it.
for the Harry Potter license.
She could
Maybe she's a
sneeze and this
huge-
game could be made.
maybe she's like a huge fan of XCOM as well.
Yeah, okay.
You're just
Yeah.
instantly dismissing the idea.
She's just sat at home and she's like, "Fuck yeah, this is the ultimate
of
game."
J.K. Rowling, like finishing off with her feather quill, the last beautiful line of her next big series, and then she just like takes a big fat dump on the toilet and plays XCOM on the Switch and gets poo particles everywhere.
Yeah.
A big fat dump. Jeez.
We could bring her on to write the DLC, Harry Potter and the Hammer of Time.
So while that's happening, while J.K. Rowling is playing XCOM on the toilet, this game will be developed within 3 years of time, says the pitch. That is the War of the Chosen development time, plus another year for extra assets and story. Sounds fine to me. 3 years, you totally could do tactical strategy.
3 years is...
This is fun. I don't know. I feel like I'm less cynical about the budget than you guys are.
I mean...
You need to buy the license.
But $10 million.
You gotta win over JK.
Thing is, they're not making Harry Potter movies right now. I don't know if.
Yes, they are.
They are.
What are you talking about?
The series is done.
Yes, they are. No, they're making the Fantastical
spin-off
Beasts
series.
spin-off.
Are they making as much money? Has that made the license as valuable as it once was?
Yeah, it only expands upon the universe and brings it back into the mainstream. Harry Potter's fucking.
Does this
huge
mean that
anyway.
in the 2040s, when our kids are gonna grow up, they're gonna be like super into whatever cheap cartoon spin-off of Harry Potter is around by then? Is it gonna be a permanent franchise?
Right. Let's before we finish, let's just talk about budgets for a second to give people a better idea, right? So, for example, a game like Halo 3. You know, the like third big installment for a pretty big franchise. Remember, not on the scale of like Harry Potter. Cost like $35 million to make.
Holy crap! And never mind. Yeah, I get it now.
And that had a marketing budget of $40 million.
Yeah.
So in total, that game took about $70 million to make, right? And then we have like GTA 5. You know.
Oh well.
Not Harry Potter, but that cost $265 million.
That's an exceptional case.
But that's almost 250 times larger a budget than buying the Harry Potter license and then developing an XCOM.
That's also a very, very like boutique, high quality game. This is a license cash grab for A, the kids, and B, the gamers who might be like, XCOM, Harry Potter, yeah, sure, I'll rent it, whatever. It's not exactly like aiming for Grand Theft Auto 5 levels of
we're not,
budget,
but
I'm sure.
We're talking about like a downgrade of 250 times.
And now I just want to melt.
Usually AA games cost in the region of about $10 million to $15 million, and that's like AA games.
It's not gonna look good. You're not gonna see like hairs,
tentacles
separated,
writhing and squirming.
The kids, they don't have.
It's all gonna be one block on their head. You know? You know, when they move their head, it's just gonna go with their head. You know, it's gonna be probably that.
Guys, I'm a little nervous.
About
I think I felt confident giving my millions to Magnum Xerox 3. But Harry Potter the Wizarding War sounds a little bit more of a risky investment. Even with the Harry Potter license involved.
And that's why I'm not giving it my money.
I think I will take my money from Xerox and give it to Harry Potter.
What?
I'll double up on Harry Potter.
What?
I'll give it
Bold financial strategy.
California's changed you.
You're slinging your money around willy-nilly.
Willy-nilly.
This is the opportunity of a lifetime here.
Oh, to you, I guess.
Can you imagine?
You don't even know if JK's on board.
She's probably
I can
on
get
board.
JK on board now.
I can get JK on board.
I can get JK on board. Okay?
Yeah, you keep saying that.
Do you like follow her on Twitter?
Isn't that like the best way to talk to people?
I actually think it. I see way
didn't
more
answer
of
the
my
question,
DMs
though.
than I do my emails these days.
Yeah, that ain't no lie. That's for sure.
So yeah, what I guess I guess the verdict for me and Liam is no. Matt, on the other hand, has an elaborate scheme.
Yes. Got to get that money.
Well, yeah. So
Matt's the one who's going to be laughing all the way to the bank.
And you guys are going to be on like Xerox One making like, I don't know, $1,000 profit.
paddling our way
making
home
millions.
in a cart made out of Xerox machines while Matt drives his California cruising 2049 Batmobile home.
Can finally afford a house in California.
So,
Yeah,
what's going to happen with Xerox is that once you go back in time to Xerox 2 and Xerox 1, the budget is going to keep getting smaller and smaller, and the games are going to get grabbier.
So you just want to use all the money that their first big splash makes. And this...
But at least I won't
Which is not
have
gonna be
J.K.
much.
Rowling suing me for making a shit XCOM Harry Potter.
And that event, I guess if Harry Potter does become a dumping ground for quick and dirty ideas as the decades roll on, then around this time, like, I don't know, 50 years from now, JK might be rowling in her grave.
That makes me happy for some reason. I love that one.
I mean, to be fair, it would be pretty cool to see Harry Potter last forever. On the other hand, it might be kind of depressing.
Poor Harry.
Poor Harry.
Poor
Poor Ogan.
Daniel Radcliffe.
We gotta get him to voice Harry as well, you know?
Maybe in Harry Potter 50, the Phantom Potter, he'll have an identity crisis as the franchise wears itself to exhaustion, and
he's already
punished. Punished Harry.
He's actually made like skits about that. Well, not him personally, but yeah, it's pretty funny to see that. It's like I am Harry. No, you're Daniel. I am Harry. it's really weird.
You're a fictional character, Harry. You don't exist, Harry. You're a figment of everyone's imagination being sold to people for money. What if Hagrid said that?
Well, if you can send in better Harry Potter game ideas, send them to
Dad and Son's
Dad and Son's Podcast.
No. Matt, what? Why?
You know what? Actually, yeah, sure. Send more so we can get less Metal Gear garbage.
There wasn't any Metal Gear garbage in this week's.
Yeah, exactly. This week's, but it is in the email.
After enduring all of
it's
the
just
roasts.
Matt checked the email once in his lifetime.
Oozing with
just all Metal Gear.
spy espionage.
Spy escargot.
Espionage.
No.
Nodge.
Marge, Arene.
Nodge.
Let's go. Let's go Nosh.
Oh, we're that's right. We're ending. We're just like,
We're just talking.
we haven't talked to each other in 2 weeks, so we're just kind of
We're letting it
vibing
all
out a
out.
little bit,
What a weird podcast.